Okay, so we have this Acura CL. This is the one that I changed that front right outer tie rod not too long ago. Now the reason why it's here is because the customer is having issues with having to jump start it in the morning. Once he does jump start it, now you can see we got a new battery already. Once he does jump start it, he said he could drive for about 10 minutes until it shuts off on him. So I told him it sounds like a bad alternator. I pulled it in here. It was running. It was charging at 12.7 volts. With the battery disconnected, the engine will not run for more than like 4 seconds. So, and let's see where this goes. The previous owner says that he changed the alternator already, and it does kind of look newer. But we'll see what's going on with this. Okay, so we're all set here. I got the new alternator installed. As you can see, we're charging at 14 volts. With the old alternator, it was like 12.7 or something like that. The engine sounds much better. It's not stumbling anymore. It looks like the one that was in here was already an AutoZone alternator because they look exactly the same as far as stickers and just everything in general. So it sucks it's not the same person buying it, or else I'm sure this thing would have been under warranty. But it is what it is, and the car is working now. So I just have to change and look at a few more things on the car, but pretty easy one here. Alright, so we have a Dodge Durango here. It got towed in last night, or the day before I should say, and I'm just getting around to it. From what I understand, it was a crank no start, but I jumped in the car this morning and it started up right away. I brought it into the driveway, let it run, and then it just shut off after maybe like 5 minutes. Where we're at right now, there's no fuel pressure, and even though I first heard the fuel pump priming when I did get in the car this morning, it's no longer priming. Yeah, so no prime. More than likely it's gonna need a fuel pump. I'm assuming if I go underneath the truck here and just start banging on the fuel tank, we might get a prime out of it. But you know, let's see how it goes. And sure enough, just banged on the fuel tank a few times, and now we have fuel pressure. So that's where we're at. I don't know if I'm gonna end up doing this job. Honestly, I don't want to. But let's see how it goes. Gotta call the customer. So here we have the Explorer, the one that had the oxygen sensor that was being grounded, and it came in for some brakes today, so we're getting this thing taken care of. Okay, so this is a full tank of gas. This was as much fun as going on a drug run with Lindsay Lohan and getting caught by the police. So here goes the fuel tank strap for the front. I actually had to cut it off because the bolt, like this one, it goes into the body, the nut that's welded on the inside of the frame just started spinning. So I'm gonna have to cut that bolt. I just cut it here just so I could get the tank off. But I'm gonna have to cut that bolt and replace the bolt. We got new straps, so I'm not worried about the straps. That's why I just went ahead and cut them. Now the rear strap was just like this. So basically there was no rear strap holding up this tank, and the rear of the tank was actually sagging. The only thing holding up this tank from the back were these two rubber hoses. And there is a lot of stress on them. You could even see this one's already cracked. But yeah, there was only one strap up front. The one in the back was completely missing. Okay, so I had a good fight with this lock ring to get it off. I mean, this thing was just so rotted on there, it's crazy. So you can see the damage that it sustained trying to get it off. The problem here is I called all three of the local auto parts store around here, and neither of them could get this part. So I went on Amazon. I found one that looks very similar, but when you type in this specific vehicle, it says it does not fit that vehicle, which I don't understand. It looks identical, but there aren't many options. Not even looking online, it's crazy. It's such a stupid part. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do about this. The radiator on this Mustang, I didn't record any of it because it was a pain in the butt and it had me frustrated. So, but there goes the old one. And right now, just filling up the system. Should be good to go. We did not use a brand new radiator in this case. We got to use one from LKQ. It's what the customer wanted. So it is what it is. Hopefully this radiator has no problems. Okay, so it's all full of coolant. As you can see, we're right about 14 psi. And it's been holding like this for a while now. So just gonna go ahead and start it up. Make sure it's bled out properly. And this one will be all set. Yeah, so we got a 04 Durango here, and we got codes for heater circuit, bank 2, sensor 2. So I just went ahead, pulled out the multimeter, and there's no continuity on the heater circuit. So we're gonna go ahead and change out this sensor. Pretty easy one here. Okay, so I got the lock ring for the fuel pump, and this is an aftermarket part, as you can see. So there's a part number. Let's see how well it fits. And there we go. The part fit pretty well. No complaints at all. As long as you get all the rust off of these little tabs right here, the part goes on perfectly fine. It works well. So it's pretty good. Now we could go ahead and actually put the tank back on the vehicle, and we have new straps to hold the tank up. So okay, so we're here once again with that Durango, the fuel pump job. The tank is fully in place now. The jack stands are not doing anything. As you can see, I got the strap back there, got the strap up here installed. You ever had a job where it was such a pain in the butt and it makes you wonder, like, now was this job just gonna be a pain in the butt in general, or is it because I'm using cheap aftermarket parts? Because these straps, they were a nightmare to get them to fit and to you know, everything to line up. So it makes me wonder, you know, was it just a part that was fighting me, or even if I had OEM parts, it was just gonna be a crap job to begin with. Okay, so I'm all done with the fuel pump on this Durango. And just to confirm we have a fix, let's go ahead and look at the scope. Again, let me try to get this set up over here. And look at that waveform. That right there is a good fuel pump. So, confirm fix. So we have a 2001 Ford Taurus, and the brake pedal was going all the way down to the floor. So the problem was back here inside of the drums. When I took the drum off, these components were just sitting at the bottom here, and you could see how they're oh, there's just too much going on here. You could see how they're completely destroyed. So new hardware kit, and everything looks fine. There's no leaks or anything, so just gonna go ahead and put it back together. 2004, at least I think it's a 04 Accord. And today we're doing the stabilizer links, stabilizer bar bushings, and both lower ball joints. Everything seems to be going pretty good so far. And yes, sometimes you do need to bust out both the tools. So I've already installed both lower ball joints. Got that one on. And got that one on. Ran into a new problem. This upper ball joint is no good. So we're gonna get this changed right now while we're in here. But one thing that's kind of bugging me is it looks like those bushings for the sway bar, in order to change them, I'm gonna have to drop the subframe a little bit. So I'm not really happy about that. Okay, so here we have a Dodge Caliber. It came in for a clunking noise up front. Whenever they're hitting like a rough patch on the road, it just sounds horrible. All kinds of knocking and clunking up front. So it's the obvious. Yep. Obvious sway bar bushings. So we got new links. Just gonna go ahead and change the links as well as those bushings. And this one should be all set. And I'm all done with this one. As you can see, we got the new bushings back there. And new stabilizer links. Everything's nice and tight. And look at that, we did not have to drop the subframe this time just to change some stabilizer bushings. So, we're all set here. Okay, so this Acura CL is back once again. This time we have two different issues. The first one is clicking when you got a full lock all the way to the right or all the way to the left. So, I got a pretty good idea of what this is going to be. And, yep. So, that's no bueno. Let's go check the other side. And there we go. So this is what's causing the clicking noise. It's gonna need two CV shafts. The other issue we're having with this vehicle is intermittent shutting off, but mainly only on cold starts. So he said it'll run for a few minutes, it'll shut off, then he has to wait like 30 seconds, and it'll usually start back up again. And it usually only shuts off on him when the engine's cold. He wanted me to check the fuel pump. I told him it doesn't sound like it's going to be a fuel pump, because if it were bad, it would not want to start on you sometimes, and it would die whenever the heck it wanted to, not just only at that specific moment. But I told him I'd check it anyway, and to me that looks fine. So there's nothing wrong with the fuel pump, so we have to keep looking and see what's going on with this car, of why it keeps shutting off. Be my lucky day, because look what I found just stuck inside of this engine bay way down here. It's a snap-on ratchet, a snap-on extension, and a snap-on swivel. Oh, but it's actually a socket. It's not just a regular swivel. What is it, a 10 mil? It's pretty neat. Pretty excited about this. So cool. I just love when you find things. Okay, so I'm all done cleaning it up and putting it all back together. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was before. So it's a pretty sweet find. It's not every day you find snap-on tools. But yeah. So it's past midnight. That means it's officially 2019. So happy New Year, everyone.